JBN, we keep you informed. I am Michelle Jones, and in the news, bumper shot dead in Manchester. A woman was shot dead in land settlement near Royal Flat in Manchester Central on Saturday morning. She has been identified as 42-year-old bartender Nakisha Harrison, otherwise called Bumper. A police report said about 9:50 p.m. residents heard explosions in the area. Police were called to a house in the community where Harrison was found suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. She was taken to hospital where she was pronounced dead. Body found in Portmore Gully. Police have confirmed that the body of a man was found in Bridgeport, Portmore, St. Catherine this morning. The body, which up to this afternoon was still unidentified, had what appeared to be gunshot wounds, according to the police. It was reportedly found in a gully between 11 and 14 Autumn Avenue. Police have since disclosed that around 7:50 p.m. on Saturday, residents reported hearing explosions sounding like gunshots, and on Sunday, shortly before 8 a.m., the residents stumbled upon the body and called the police. Lawmen who responded discovered that the body, which was lying face down, had several gunshot wounds. The police said the body is of a dark complexion, about 5 feet 8 inches tall, and clad in a grey and yellow t-shirt, black pants, and black shoes. Several spent shells were found at the scene, the police revealed. Windscreen wiper killed in Cockburn Gardens. The St. Andrew South police are probing the murder of a 17-year-old windscreen wiper early Sunday morning. He has been identified as Ricardo Abrams, otherwise called Brim, of an Olympic Way address. Information received is that Abrams was shot and killed about 12:30 a.m. along 2nd Street in Bellrock, Cockburn Gardens. Explosions were heard and the police were summoned to the scene. On their arrival, Abrams was found lying in a pool of blood with gunshot wounds to his head. He was rushed to hospital where death was confirmed. Alleged armed burglar fatally shot in South Lamar. A man was shot dead during a confrontation with the police after he and his crony broke into a wholesale in South Lamar, Westmoreland on Sunday morning. The deceased has been identified as 31-year-old Dwight McKenzie of a burnt Savannah address in the parish. The Corporate Communications Unit of the Jamaica Constabulary Force is reporting that one Browning 9mm pistol was recovered during the incident. The CCU said 2 men broke into the This One wholesale on Lewis Street and stole several items. The police got wind of the situation, and on their arrival on the scene, the gunmen confronted the lawmen. The police took evasive action, and Mackenzie was fatally shot. The other gunman escaped. The CCU said some of the stolen items were recovered. The matter has been investigated by the Inspectorate and Professional Standards Oversight Bureau and the Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM. Cocaine seized at Kingston Freeport terminal, now valued at $12 billion. Ongoing police investigations have seen the value of Saturday's major cocaine bust ballooning to over $12 billion. The police have now said that the massive seizure made at the Kingston Freeport terminal on Saturday morning totaled over 1,500 kilograms, with an estimated street value of approximately $80 million or over 12 billion Jamaican dollars. Preliminary police investigations had estimated the drugs to weigh over 1,200 kilograms, with a value of between approximately $7 billion and $9 billion. A reliable police source said that the contraband, which was found concealed among the cargo of a vessel which arrived from Colombia on Friday, represents one of the largest cocaine busts in Jamaica. The drugs were found in 50 duffel bags, following a search of over 30 containers, the police source said. The source said the search, which began about 10 a.m. on Friday, was completed Saturday afternoon. It is part of a joint operation among the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, Narcotics Division, the Jamaica Defence Force, JDF, and Jamaica Customs Agency, JCA. The search has concluded, but the police are still processing the scene, the source said. According to a JCF media release, representatives of the police and Jamaica Customs have indicated that the operation on the port will continue for an extended period to ensure the integrity of items arriving at the port. This latest find is a few kilograms less than the 1,589 kilograms of drugs uncovered in the country in August 2002. Up to this morning, police say no one had been arrested in connection. Up to this morning, police say no one had been arrested in connection with the find. Alleged cop killer charged with Central Village double murder. A 27-year-old chef from St. Thomas has been charged with the murder of a policeman and a taxi driver in Big Lane, Central Village in St. Catherine, in August 2021. He's stepping past it from Swamp Road in St. Thomas. He was charged by the St. Catherine South Police on Friday, following a question and answer session. He was charged with 2 counts of murder, conspiracy to murder, robbery with aggravation, and illegal possession of firearm and illegal possession of ammunition. Corporal Delwyn Jackson 40 and his friend, 43-year-old Kenroy Chandler, both of West Prospect District, Bogwalk, St. Catherine, were shot dead on August 18, 2021. Pasley and his accomplices pounced upon Jackson and Chandler and opened gunfire, hitting them several times, the police say. The attackers also robbed Jackson of his service pistol and an undetermined sum of cash. Pasley's accomplices are currently being sought by the police. He was apprehended earlier this month in the Lucy Market in Hanover in a police operation. Police seized ammunition in St. James. More than 130 rounds of ammunition were seized on Friday during a security operation in Roseites, St. James. The operation was led by members of the Jamaica Constabulary Forces SWAT team from the Specialized Operations Branch. Following that seizure, Senior Superintendent Stephanie Lindsay, head of the Corporate Communications Unit of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, again asserted that the police will be relentless in removing illegal weapons and ammunition from the hands of criminals. In that regard, she cited another seizure also in St. James the previous day, which included 2 guns and assorted rounds of ammunition. She cited the recently amended Firearms Act, which includes more prohibited sanctions for breaches, as another important step towards ridding the society of illegal guns. Guns stolen in St. Anne. Detectives are probing the theft of 2 firearms and ammunition in St. Anne. The incident occurred at a location in Miami Bay. Investigators say about 7:30 last evening, a licensed firearm holder had his Glock pistol with 47 rounds and a 12-gauge shotgun stolen. The weapons are yet to be recovered. Judge highlights need for electronic surveillance after accused jumps bail. Supreme Court Judge Justice Leighton Pusey on Friday expressed tacit support for provisions under the proposed Bail Act, which allow for electronic monitoring of individuals out on bond. The judge's comment on the issue came in the aftermath of yet another defendant out on bail disappearing on the day trial was scheduled to start in his court. Very interestingly, there is scope for 2 things which the powers that be have not yet put in place in relation to the Bail Act, which is that there is actually provision for electronic monitoring which we have never had. Justice Pusey said on Friday, while making the cryptic observation that it's always interesting to see legislation made with grand designs and past, and the executive doesn't necessarily get around to these things. The trial judge was informed that Korean Patterson, the man who was to stand trial for the 2012 murder of attorney Clover Graham, had seemingly absconded bail. Just last November, Simeon Sutherland, the man accused of murdering former People's National Party Member of Parliament Dr. Linvale Bloomfield, and whose trial was set to begin before Justice Pusey, disappeared from the precincts of the court after arriving with his parents. He remains on the run. The police have been ordered to arrest Sutherland on site, while officials at the sea and airports have been instructed to be on high alert. Electronic monitoring of accused granted bail will be one of the provisions in the new Bail Act. When passed into law, it will grant presiding judges in Jamaica the authority to prescribe whether a defendant who is granted bail should wear an electronic tracking device or ankle bracelet. Section 8(5)(c) of the bill stipulates the wearing by the defendant of an electronic tracking device to allow for the monitoring of the movements of the defendant, being a device in accordance with such specifications and characteristics as shall be prescribed. In addition, Section 14 of the bill says that a person who absconds while on bail faces up to 5 years in prison for the offence if convicted in a parish court, and up to 7 years if the conviction is before a circuit court. Of note is that this conviction will run consecutive to the offence for which the defendant was before the court in the first place. A defendant is determined to have absconded if he or she fails to surrender to custody, or having reasonable excuse for failing to surrender to custody, fails to surrender to custody as soon as possible after the time originally appointed for the defendant to surrender to custody. Patterson had been arrested along with 2 others in 2012 for the murder. He, however, chose to go to trial while the other 2 accused pleaded guilty and were sentenced. The accusers appeared before the court on numerous occasions in relation to the matter since 2012 and was present up to Thursday at the Supreme Court when the matter was called up. He had his bail extended at that hearing, with the expectation being that he would return for the trial on Friday morning. However, when Justice Pusey asked for Patterson to be brought in so the matter could proceed, he was told that the man was nowhere to be found. Attorney for Patterson, Zara Lewis, told the court that she had not been able to contact her client since Friday morning. "My lord, our team spoke to him several times. Our team spoke to him at about 7:35 last night, and since morning, we have not been able to make contact with Mr. Patterson or his family. Even at the last hour, we exercised our best efforts to locate him, hoping that he would appear before your lordship," Lewis said on Friday. Justice Pusey, in ordering that a bench warrant be issued for the arrest of Patterson, adjourned the matter to Monday, January 16, when he'll indicate his decision in the matter if Patterson is still a no-show. The accused can still be tried and sentenced in his absence based on the law. That decision rests with the trial judge. Graham was killed roughly a week after she returned to Jamaica from Britain in August of 2012. Police found the body of the 56-year-old lawyer, who had been reported missing, on the infield of the Caymanas Polo Club of the Mandela Highway in St. Catherine. The corpse was lying face down with its throat slashed, a similar position to that in which her son, Tawayo Mackenzie, and his girlfriend, Janelle White, the victims of the horrific 2007 Good Samaritan killings, were found in November 2007. Graham, a University of Technology, Jamaica lecturer, and UN representative, is from Elthamakers in Spanish Town, St. Catherine. Police theorize that she was abducted while entering her home after returning from a visit to a friend in Old Pastures, St. Andrew. Only 2 months before her murder, 24-year-old Andre Ennis of Avondale, St. Andrew, and 24-year-old Passmore Mullins, also called Shane Brown, of Gregory Park, St. Catherine, both labourers, were convicted for slashing the throats of her son and his girlfriend before dumping them in bushes in Mount Silas, St. Andrew. The men were each ordered to serve 50 years imprisonment before being eligible for parole, but later filed an appeal, which saw their sentences being reduced by 10 years. Dubbed the Good Samaritans, the couple had gone to the area with medication and other supplies for Ennis and George Cooper, who later turned state witness, who they had hit from a motorcycle while driving along Border Avenue, St. Andrew, a week earlier. In sports news, Sunshine Girls came up short against England. Jamaica's Sunshine Girls came up just short in the Vitality International Netball Series, losing 2-1 to England after they were beaten 63-59 in Sunday's decisive game played at a sold-out Copper Box Arena in London. Despite playing without several top players and being forced to play with injuries to members of the team, the Sunshine Girls got crucial match practice before this summer's World Cup in South Africa. Jamaica had won Saturday's game 61-58, bouncing back from their 73-52 loss in the first game, played at the AO Arena in Manchester, setting up Sunday's winner-take-all game. Jamaica rallied from a 4-goal deficit at the end of the first quarter to lead by 1 goal, 31-30 at half-time, but the home team rallied to lead 48-44 at the end of the third quarter, and despite Jamaica cutting the deficit to 2 goals midway the final quarter and the return of Janelle Fowler, who missed all of the third quarter, England prevailed. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.